Spoken Life.
He lurked in the shadows, waiting and hoping she wouldn't take a different route. This was her usual room. He knew that. He knew her.
Ghost of Me, the new book by Amanda Steele, can be found at Amazon, Kobo, Waterstones, and many, many other places. Hi guys, it's Andy N. Thanks today for downloading or streaming yet another episode of Spoken Label. As you may or may not be aware, Spoken Label was started in the beginning of 2006, and currently we have well over 150 sessions recorded since then. Although you can find it on various networks, the full archive is available for streaming and downloading at Spoken Label bandcamp.com. It is a free download or free stream in there, but obviously, if you feel like chucking me a few pennies that way, it'd be eternally grateful to help me keep this podcast going and keep improving my equipment, etc. Enjoy. Speak to you soon. Bye bye. Spoken Label.
Hi guys, Andy N. Spoken Label, back in the house again. This is going to be one of these sessions today because we've already had a cock up here and N Studios. Unfortunately, didn't press the record button here, so me and this lovely young gentleman I'm talking to at the moment, I've just realised 6 minutes into the chat I'm on to several topics, so we got to do it again. Apologies, Paul. Now, he's the gentleman in question is a lovely young gentleman, Paul McNamara, and I got talking to Paul last week or so after contacting somebody else, and he liked the look of Spoken Label and contacted me, and he's been chatting since then. And he's got some great stories to tell us, Paul. So, do you want to tell everybody, Paul, again for the second time? You are obviously where you come from, and obviously where did all your creativity start from originally? Sorry about this, mate.
No bother, any. I think it was a good practice run. Eased us into it there the first time round. Hello, everybody. I'm delighted to be here. My name is Paul McNamara, and I'm from Limerick, Ireland. And I'm a writer, performer, spoken word poet, who's doing, getting to perform a lot, has been performing a lot around Ireland, and just, as we were saying earlier, currently trying to finish up a PhD in English in Limerick, which is driving me slightly crazy, but we're getting there, making progress, going well.
Yeah, it's a funny one. Like I said, we're trying to do things like this at the moment, and both countries are in lockdown. It's somewhat really, really quite. You have to do things in a very, very different way, aren't you? So I've got friends that are doing degrees and stuff at the moment, and the last 2-3 months of their degree, they're not allowed in the college building now, and having to do all of it from home, and really quite. I think you learn to study in a very different way, don't you? When you have to do all of it from home, I suppose, yourself at the moment.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre, and it's kind of just a little bit, it's not too bad for me at the moment, thankfully, because I wasn't doing lectures or anything at the moment, or, I wasn't taking classes. So a lot of it was kind of just doing my own work anyway. But it's weird not to have other people around you or not to have that space you can go that's not, your house. Where you can actually...
Yeah. When it does, it's like things are going to change a lot of studies and everything going forward now, certainly in both our countries, aren't they? So, but yeah, now, in relation to yourself, obviously, as we discussed before, one. But I know, obviously, you told me you started all this when you were much younger, didn't you, really? You've been writing since you were very, very young, weren't you? So, you tell people about that then. I want you to tell people about your play story as well.
Yeah, I remember I loved writing since 5-6 years old, everything. So saying I was that kid in school who just loved getting, that assignment to write a story or write a poem when everyone else was groaning. And I kind of, all up through childhood, through teenager, I was always kind of writing. Wasn't really doing much with it, but just kind of enjoying the process, the experience of writing. And then once I started college in MIC in Limerick, my first, I think 2 weeks into my starting college, a friend of mine wanted to go to audition for a play, but she didn't want to go alone, so she dragged me along to the auditions as well. And at the end of the day, I ended up being cast in it, and she didn't, which caused not too much tension, but...
Whoops, that's been the word, isn't it? So, good one. But obviously, through when you went to college and stuff like that, I know you were telling me, weren't you, before, that you've studied or lived in New York for 3 months on an exchange program. So tell people about that then, because obviously, like, I know Limerick, and I don't know New York. I've got a friend that lives from New York, and they're two vastly different sort of cities, aren't they? So, your case, you must have stepped off that plane. It must have been a case of, oh my god.
Yeah, like New York is a small bit bigger than Limerick, just a small little bit.
Slightly bigger, isn't it? Slightly different tone.
Slightly bigger. But like Limerick is great as well. But it's definitely New York is kind of its own beast, and I got a great opportunity through Erasmus Plus and the college MIC Limerick to do an exchange program. So they pretty much send me to New York City to Manhattan to live for 3 months, with most of the expenses paid as well.
Wow.
So it's incredible opportunity.
You were saying before you were staying with two musicians, weren't you? So, like,
yeah,
wow.
just being surrounded by that. And like my first night there, I didn't say this last time, one of my housemates was like, oh yeah, my friend's going playing in Carnegie Hall tonight. I'm going to go see him. And just like, do you want to come? I have a free ticket. And I'm like, yeah. Like, yeah, no bother.
Wow. Wow.
So
it's an
like,
experience, isn't it? I know you told us before, well, you performed your poetry over there as well, didn't you? So during an open mic night, obviously in East New York, wasn't it? So what's that experience like for you, reading your work in a different country?
yeah, it was so cool. I got to go to the New Eurekan Poetry Cafe in New York City in East Manhattan, which is kind of, I think, like the home of performance poetry in New York. And it was a really cool experience, a really different experience, because I suppose a lot of my work is kind of comedy based, and a lot of the jokes that hit well in Ireland kind of just got silence in there. But then some of the stuff that nobody laughs at here got got loads of laughs over there. It's just that kind of different culture.
It
And
shows, doesn't it, really? Like, obviously, we both speak English, and the American, obviously, is a version of English.
Mhm.
But the humour's, what's in one area doesn't always transcribe to another, does it? So that's one thing you can learn off that straight away. But I would have come back buzzing after being in there for 3 months, and it must have been like really hard to get back to go back to Ireland and Limerick after that. Then probably wasn't it?
Like, it was kind of nice to go back to not having, a million people around you all the time, but I kind of miss it at the same time. Kind of miss that buzz.
Oh yeah, no, it's such a busy, thriving city. Like Manchester, where I am, we're the second or third biggest city in England, but the part I'm in is fairly quiet. So like, I will see people who will step outside, but it's not loads. I've got to handle millions of people in the face all the time. It'd be too much. Now, obviously, since you've come back to Ireland, then I'm curious to know more about your time in Ireland's Got Talent. You were telling me about that before. You were hinting a little bit, saying
Yeah, that was an experience. It's funny because the first time I ever performed poetry on stage was actually Limerick's Got Talent.
Oh yeah.
Was the start of my illustrious career. And it was funny 'cause it was like just this dumb luck thing. I tried it, got like last minute application, and did the semi-finals and got kicked out straight away, and then got like asked back as a wild card and ended up like winning Limerick's Got Talent, my shining moment of fame.
Well done, mate.
But then a couple of years later, it's like I've been doing a lot of kind of competitions and stuff in Ireland, and had kind of, some went really well. So you had good nights, you had bad nights. And then I saw there was an application out for Ireland's Got Talent. So pretty much same thing, same company as Britain's Got Talent. So I was like, screw it, put in an application. And producers came back and they're like, yeah, we're really interested. We want to try you out, want to get you up there. Yeah, they were really nice. They wanted a very specific kind of poem, and I ended up having to kind of write something for it. They kept hinting that they were like, we'd really love it if it was kind of inspirational. And I was like, okay, fair enough.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, you go and you end up, I was up in Drogheda for like, you have to arrive there at 7:00 in the morning. You're there for like 14 hours before you actually go on stage, and they're doing all the recordings and the video recordings. And I will say, like, all the staff there are lovely. But yeah, I ended up on stage with Louis Walsh was a judge, and Michelle Visage, I think, from that RuPaul show. Jason Byrne, who's an Irish comedian, and a West End actress whose name I can't remember. So I really should.
Oh wow.
It was an interesting experience.
Is this on TV if people want to try and track you down? Is it? On
I think
YouTube?
it was on YouTube. I think it might still be on YouTube. I'm not really sure. I kind of hope not. But
Don't look for a YouTube everybody then. Look at his work nowadays. Yeah, oh yeah, completely.
yeah, like it was a really like it got I didn't get through, unfortunately, got not to spoil it. But I got some positive feedback, and it was it was I think 1,000 people in the audience, which is probably the biggest crowds I've ever done.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of people. And I've done a couple of festivals. I've had 2,000 people or 1,000, 2,000 people. Is a lot of people. When you get to the size of crowd like that, then it starts getting big. You start thinking, "Oh my god!" Don't you literally like you're thinking, "What have I done?" Wow.
But it was a fun experience, something different, and it went up live on TV as well, and they put some strange background music on in post production. So don't blame me for that.
Typical that one, mate. So now, obviously,
It was cool.
in relation to yourself, I know obviously you've done 2 poetry plays as well, haven't you? And you've written and performed 2 plays, which are Quarterlife Crisis and Hello, My Name is Single, which you've just been describing as a mixed combination of poetry and theatre. Now, where did these come from, these 2 plays then?
Yeah, like the first one, Quarterlife Crisis, actually kind of came from doing all of these competitions, and I'm sure the people listening, or a lot of people listening, have been to a lot of open mic poetry nights and maybe even some like slam poetry competitions, and I was doing a lot of those. But it kind of got to the stage where I was like, having 3 minutes to connect with an audience and tell all these stories didn't feel like enough time. So I wanted to kind of, have a try at telling a bigger story and kind of maybe having more time to connect with an audience, because I really love the kind of performance side of writing as well. So I decided to give it a go, and I ended up writing a play that was about an hour long, Quarterlife Crisis, which was kind of me telling the story of doing all of these competitions and kind of starting off in being a performance poet or just a poet, whatever you want to call it. And it's very much kind of a silly, funny kind of show. And it was just really cool experience of, getting to be in a room, and like it was fringe festivals mostly I was performing at. So you'd have maybe 20, 30, 40 people, but just having an hour to spend with that group of people was really fun, and how you could implement those poems into that story, into that bigger story. And then the following year we did Hello, My Name is Single, which was kind of the same thing, but kind of upped the whole maybe theatrical side of it a little bit, made it a lot more silly, a lot more fun. Couple of costume changes.
Well, that's all. That always makes it fun. You've got the costume changes of it as well straight away.
And but still having kind of poetry at the heart of it, and kind of poetry pushing the story along, with a little bit of audience participation thrown in just to make everyone be under.
Do you think, would you want to do another poetry play in the future, do you think, or we're not sure yet?
Nah, definite. I think that's kind of what I want to aim for at the moment. That's one of the things I want to focus on. Hello, My Name is Single, I didn't get to do as much. So with Quarterlife Crisis, we got to do it 3 or 4 times at different festivals and different events. So Hello, My Name is Single, I did it 2 or 3 weeks before leaving for New York. So we didn't get much time to actually take it anywhere. So I think we'd like to maybe travel around with that a bit. And then I think definitely have a few more ideas that I'd love to kind of try and take part in and write a couple more shows.
Yeah, it sounds like you know what you're doing about it. And then what I found interesting was on a different topic was, and you told me in your notes, you told me as well, that you've written the piece, haven't you, on performance poetry to go into a book of essays used with publisher Routledge. And you also done your MA degree in life poetry. You can tell when you're talking about it, you know what you're talking about. I found it really interesting, that. So when you did a conference with Poetry in Ireland, did you find a lot of the experience you'd gathered last few years came to that conference quite easily?
Yeah, like it's really cool to try and, like, it's funny when you organize a conference like that, it's almost like organizing an event where you're the main audience. So you get to pretty much pick all the like cool topics and cool people to come and talk. But it was really interesting. It's like when it all kind of came together very quickly. Like I'd started performing poetry like shortly before starting my master's, and when I did my master's I had a completely different idea what I was going to write about, and then I was like, screw it, I'm kind of really enjoying this. I'm loving this. I'm taking part in it. So I wrote my master's kind of on some of the work of Shane Kaizen and Buddy Wakefield, as some people might have come across. And just how about, like how different poetry is when it's performed than when it's written down on a page. And, there's certain things you want to think about, or certain things you want to aim for when you're reading it live or when you're performing it live, and the audience kind of gets to be part of it, and you have that connection with the audience, which is really cool. So like when we did the conference, we got to have a lot of different voices come together, a lot of both kind of academics and a lot of writers coming in. And we had Stephen James Smith was kind of our main speaker, a great poet from Dublin. Some people might have come across his work as well. And we had some online presentations from, we had Ireland, we had England, we had someone from, I think, the Middle East even did a performance about work, which was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
So it was just fantastic that all these work together. And then Bath University in England has some great academics looking at performance poetry at the moment. And a couple of them, Lucy English was the main woman I was talking to, has decided to put together a book with Routledge, which is coming out soon. So I put in something for that as well. Kind of looking at it. Thank you very much.
Top banana.
And yeah, it's just really cool to kind of think about, how much a live setting can kind of bring to poetry or bring to writing in general.
Yeah. Now, obviously, looking at that side of things, and I know you've been doing poetry and work at schools, haven't you, as well? Now, do you want to tell people about that? Because obviously, I know a bit about how it's done in England. But Ireland's, obviously, Southern Ireland, we all, it's a very different ballgame altogether. Now, tell people a bit about that, and how did it compare to doing like lectures at university level of it?
Yeah, it's a very different, very different audience from your 10-year-olds to your 20-year-olds.
Oh yeah,
I love it. Now I haven't done it full time because I know Poetry Ireland do have schemes where they bring writers into schools, but thankfully I just know I've gotten in contact, or a lot of teachers have gotten in contact with me who've seen some of my work or who've heard about some workshops I've done. So it's kind of just been individual schools asking me to come in to do workshops, which has been really cool, really fun. And thankfully some of the jobs I've had in the past kind of incorporated doing work with schools anyway. So I got to kind of create a few different like workshops, kind of 2, 3, 4 hour workshops with different age groups, just to try and get kids writing, try and get kids interested in poetry, try and get them interested in performing as well. And like, children write the most interesting things, like when they have no limits, when you get them motivated, when you get them excited. And half the time they think they're just messing, but they also write great things while they're messing. So you'd have poems where 2 kids, like 2 messers in the back of class, start writing 2 poems about, one of them's writing about Liverpool and one of them's writing about Manchester United, and they're almost like battle poems. And they think it's a big joke, but it's fantastic. Or like kids writing about like video games or Fortnite or whatever, but like they're being creative, they're thinking about it, they're like, writing about what they know and write like what they are interested in. And then when the secondary, or kind of like the teenagers, again, I think people kind of forget how passionate like teenagers can be sometimes, where I think sometimes we get, people start thinking there's a lot of apathy there. But I've gone into schools kind of, getting kids to write, and there's so much kind of passion there about, politics, about climate change, about kids wanting their voices to be heard and wanting to try these things and having fun doing it.
Yeah, completely. It's different, completely different ballgame altogether, isn't it? Like teaching that to university, like I said before. Because I think when you first started writing, and you must have been like this yourself. When you first started writing, it used to flow really quickly because the ideas are just pouring out, aren't you? I think you learn to think about your words more. It takes longer, doesn't it? You can really get the words right. If we can it's like a jigsaw puzzle, isn't it? Basically, instead of like a 20-piece jigsaw puzzle, you're trying to do 1,000 one all the time. So yeah, getting complete. It's fascinating that. Now, obviously, I want to ask you next about this. I know you've performed in a lot of places. We've touched on music festivals, theatre festivals, and TV. I want to know a bit more about your radio experience. And then the one that people are really interested in, including me, is farmers markets. Tell us about the radios first, then, please,
That big farmers market section of the audience.
mate.
Yeah, radio is fun. I got a chance. To be fair, RT, like the national radio station in Ireland, have brought me on a couple of times and been really good. For when I did the conference, they brought me on to do a few performances, a couple of poems, and they have a poetry show every Sunday night, and on Morning Ireland as well. And I think they brought me on one year for Culture Night as well, which happens every September in Ireland. And yeah, it's a really cool experience. I know, like, I have friends of mine who do radio plays and work in that area, which would be, they do a lot more of it than I do, but it's really nice to be in that experience. And especially, I suppose, during these times, you probably know yourself, a lot of people listening, you don't get to perform live a lot. You know, a lot of it has gone online. So that kind of radio, that kind of online thing is kind of bringing a whole new world into it where, you know, people are listening, but it's not in the same room. But you still get to kind of have that experience, that communal experience together, which is really, it's really nice. And I think it's really, you know, you want to have that connection when we're all locked in our houses separate.
Yeah, completely. No, it is just very, very different altogether. Now, getting played with that, fantastic. Now, tell us about the farmers markets, though, Cameron. I want to know about it. I've performed in food hall or food market. I've done a farmers market, so that must have been something completely different.
Yeah, that was when I got I did some work. I was writer in residence in 2018 for the Drumineer and Nina Literary Festival in County Tipperary, and just fantastic committee. Just it was the first time they had a writer in residence, and their goal was to kind of get it out to the public, because I think I think sometimes, you know, we have this, well, understandably sometimes, idea that writing festivals are for writers, and, you know, sometimes it's hard to kind of get it out to you know, just the regular people, like just regular people walking down the street. So they were like, yeah, we want to just perform everywhere. So I ended up performing in, like, the county council building during their, like, lunchtime.
Wow.
In pubs, in cafes, and then a farmer's market one morning. But, like, it was great because, like, all of the businesses, like, loved the idea of having someone come in, of having something different, and were so open to it. And I think, again, like any preconceived notions the committee had or anyone else had of, like, oh, maybe this wouldn't work, or maybe, you know, people wouldn't want to work with them. But, you know, I think communities are always love to, like, there's, to be fair, in Ireland, I think there's a great community spirit for supporting the arts, especially in kind of smaller communities, that people, when given the opportunity, really do want to take part, really do want to be part of it. And thankfully, you know, a lot of my work is kind of on the comedy side, which makes this a lot easier. So, you know, when you're going to a pub at 9 o'clock with, you know, 20 owl lads having their pint, and they have to listen to poetry, you know, the fact that it's comedy kind of did help the situation a bit.
Yeah, I think it probably does, doesn't it? If you go along the way where you're really heartfelt, serious stuff, and you go into a pub that's full of people absolutely drunk, you know, it makes it much harder to engage. I've been there, done that. So, yeah, I know exactly what you mean there, mate. So, brilliant. Now, obviously, the last part we need to touch on today before we go to get to a few processes. Now, obviously, with countries in lockdown at the moment, it's very, very hard to ask you what you got coming up. But do you have any sort of plans or directions in an ideal world where you'd like to go next?
Yeah, well, hopefully, if I manage to finish college finally this summer, lots of plans after that. So definitely the kind of poetry plays is an area I want to go into a lot more. We're hoping maybe even to do a bit of touring with Hello, My Name is Single. And with that show, once everything kind of gets back to hopefully semi-normality, whenever it's safe to do so.
God, yeah,
If
completely.
anyone's looking to book a nice poetry play out there, get in contact.
Yeah, definitely. Just drop me a message. Look forward definitely to that one. And that's all my questions, Paul. So what we'll do is we'll take a quick break now, obviously. We're going to pause the recording and let Paul get himself a couple of these pieces ready for us all. And we're back in a few minutes, guys. Thanks again, Paul. Brilliant stuff today. It's been a really engaging storytelling. Because it's great because, like, you've covered an awful lot of ground there, and it's fascinating to see how everyone's gone from A to B to C to D. You know what I mean, like that. Really, really interesting. Thank you today for that, Paul.
Had a good interviewer, to be fair.
I'll do my best, right? So, thanks again, guys. Take care. See you in a minute.
Spoken Label.
Hi, guys. Still here with Paul. Now, Paul's going to read out 3 pieces for us today. I'm looking forward to this. I saw his live set on Nightly for Night, and it's been brilliant. So, over to you, Paul.
Right. Thank you very much, Andy. So, the first poem I'm going to perform is called Dating is Hard. So this was an opening piece actually from Hello, My Name is Single. So it's kind of just a fun, light-hearted one about, the trouble of online dating, which a lot of people might be experiencing at the moment. Dating is hard, and I don't mean to moan, it's just my grandma keeps telling me if I don't find a girl soon, I'm going to die alone. She can be a bit blunt like that. Like, I've tried every frickin' app. Plenty of Fish, OkCupid, The Passion Network, Christian Mingle. But nope, still single. And of course I tried Tinder and Grindr before I realised they were not the same thing, which is a shame all the same, because I got a lot more hits on Grindr than Tinder, and well, there were some very nice men. So I set up a Tinder profile and I spent a while picking out a picture that I thought would capture my best angle. Turns out, I don't really have one. But I chose some anyway, and then I started swiping, but it felt weird having this binary decision of whether I thought a girl's image was impressive enough to swipe right, or whose bio had a certain personality that I thought would blend well with me. Like, it was difficult. I don't like judging people too harshly, and mix that with the fact that, well, I was a little bit lonely, and I swiped right on everyone. And the next day, I had matches, a total of 4. To the first, I said, hello. She responded, no. To the second, I said, hey. She responded, nay. To the third, I said, hi. She responded, not interested. The last, though, was a bit better. You had a message saying, hey, how are you, hon? Followed quickly by, oops, sorry, wrong person. But look, I know you're thinking dating apps, really? Like, why? But look, it's just, I'm not the most outgoing guy, and it's hard to get people's attention when there's so much going on in today's world. It's hard to try and get someone to focus on you. Like, my grandparents got married when they were 21, but it was easier back then. Like, back in the good old days, in the 1940s, when the only competition for a girl's attention in Ireland was Jesus. But today, it's not that easy. And I've tried going to the cinema, but people there just seem to want to watch the movie. And I've gone to the library, but people there just seem to want to read. And I got a gym membership, but well, I never actually went. And I stopped trying to pick people up in public places because I realized I was coming across a bit of a creep. And you can put on your best outfit and try and join the local scene and pay €25 into the sardine club. But you can't ask a girl to dance in a nightclub because her earbuds will have already blown and she won't hear a word you say. And sometimes I try and mime the question, which is kind of a dance in itself, you might say. But that understandably scares most girls away. And I want to try dating, try and meet someone new, but clubs and apps just don't really work. And well, I'm a little bit confused and I just don't really know where the right place to go is. Thank you very much.
Fantastic, mate. That's brilliant. You did make me think. I know somebody, and I'm not naming names on there. And I've just gone on a date with somebody on Zoom. Would you believe? For the first time, I've meeting them on a certain website, and it's just deceiving, really. I know you're engaged like I am. It's like it's such a surreal experience trying to do that, aren't you, basically, at the moment? With dating economy is at the moment completely, but yeah. That was brilliant, thanks, mate. Absolutely loved it.
Different worlds. Thank you very much.
Completely,
it was kind of one of the opening setup pieces to the play, so it's kind of it's nice to have the kind of character built in as well.
Yeah. So obviously it wasn't yourself that I straight away I guessed that. That's obviously, like I said, it's a character part of your piece itself. It showed the character quite well there, really. So well, I thought it was really engaging. So.
But anyway, sometimes good performances are kind of just exaggerated versions of yourself in different situations.
Yeah, if you're into American wrestling, I always say Steve Austin always says, and if you like, I can imagine taking this more poetry, like you're just turning the volume up on yourself, aren't you? So making it louder, more outrageous. I got that off you straight away on there. I didn't know. Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic, mate.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
So,
on to number 2.
try and give a bit of a variety. We'll do one more kind of serious piece, and then we'll kind of go back to a bit more light-hearted as well then, so I won't leave everybody sad. So again, the Hello, My Name is Single kind of features a lot of dating, a lot of silliness, but also, as kind of mentioned there at the start of that poem, there's that kind of relationship between the main character and his grandmother as well. So this poem is kind of about the grandmother character. And again, if anyone feels uncomfortable with it, it has a little bit to do with memory loss in it as well. But we're going to try it out. I think it's a nice poem of trying to kind of capture some of the good moments of anyone who's kind of been through that with a relative as well. So this poem is it's originally titled Pauline O'Kelly, after my own grandmother, but it's also kind of just become the granny poem a little bit as well too. Here we go. Visiting Granny in the visiting room with the armchairs and the broken grand piano that still sometimes plays if you know which keys to use. Granny smiles, her eyes as young as ever, and she just keeps singing these old Irish songs. And she tries to get me to sing along, even though I don't know the words, but you just pretend she's lost her hearing aids again, and she can't tell if you don't. But she's happy and carefree, and she just has fun, and she lives now in her own world, and that's a place of music and splendor, and the nuns in the nursing home take care of her. And she's come to realize that she probably won't go home, but she's okay with that. And she asks how her husband is. And you say he's fine. You bring her a magazine, and she loves this because her eyesight is better than yours, and she sees everything. She sees you and tells you you got so tall and also a little fat. And she tells those around you that you're a good scholar in school and you'll become a teacher soon. And she gets presents on her first day and Mother's Day and her birthday, and she tries to give them away because she doesn't want to have too many things. And she asks how her husband is. And sometimes you tell her the truth. You bring in your girlfriend to meet her and she smiles, says she's pretty and asks when you're getting married. I say, not for a while, and she laughs. When I turn, she confides to her that she thinks she'll make a lovely bride. And to be fair, I am her oldest grandchild, and well, Granny's 93 and she just wants to party. And she tells you it was a sad day seeing Grandad in the hospital, and it was difficult to see that man in a bed like that. She tells you it was tough, and you agree and say, I'm so sorry. And then you just nod because she can't hear you because she hates to wear her hearing aids. Then she asks how her parents are. You know to tell her they're fine because the first time you didn't lie, you told her they passed away, and she asked, when? You say, a long time ago. And she looks at you and asks, why didn't anyone tell me? I didn't even get to say goodbye. And she asks what happened to her parents' home that she hasn't been to in over 40 years, and you say you don't know, and then you just shake your head because she can't hear you. And then she sings these old Irish songs and tries to get you to sing along. And she's free to sing and laugh, and the nuns treat her well. But you gotta go now because it's lunchtime, and she tells you you're in the way. And she laughs and smiles, and you do too. Thank you very much, everybody.
Beautiful, mate. That's on a good writing because it shows it's completely different gears as a writer from your first piece. That so, but again, I could feel it was like you in a different level on your character. So, yeah, because I got you crossed the barrier back right there. Very, very good writing indeed. Great stuff, mate.
Thank you very much.
Okay, what's the big finale then?
Big finale. I always liked performing this, even though I think I'm slowly getting too old for it. So it's the named after the first show that I did, and one of the first kind of performance pieces I did called Quarterlife Crisis. So I think I'll milk it for as long as I can while I'm young enough to still perform it.
Yep.
I'll have to rewrite Third Life Crisis or maybe longer soon enough. This is the final piece, and thank you all very much for listening to me. So guys, I just finished college, right? And I'm out in the big bad world, and I can't live on noodles and chicken rolls no more. Now, I need to be a grown-up, but the world, it won't hold up. It's part of the deal. It's being mean and obscene, and I don't know what to do. Man, the world is a scary place, and college was supposed to give me a taste of what it was like, but man, this ain't nothing like college. I got bills to pay with no mom and dad to pay them. I got to go to work all day. And if I go out that night, I got to get up for work the next day, or else I don't get paid. I ain't got no old man standing in the front room telling me it's all going to be okay. I only got old men screaming at me for money at the bus stop, and they won't stop. And I'm just trying to keep my life together. Whether I do or not, nobody even cares. Man, it's scary, and life took a mean plot twist, and I think I'm having a quarter-life crisis. I bought a Nintendo 64 the other day. It looked like childhood. And I should have had fun playing it, but all I could think about is I should use that money to pay for car tax. And I need to give the money I borrowed off Dad for rent back. And I ain't got no time to play this because I need to get to work before I get sacked. And I just want my blankie back. And I want my mom and dad to tell me stories about how everyone lives happily ever after and the world is full of laughter and it won't turn out like this. Because right now, I think I'm having a quarter-life crisis. And now girls want commitment and want more than just kissing. And it's not about the butterflies or the tummy tingling. They want seriousness. They want a ring. I cannot afford that kind of bling. I need to spend my money on more important things. Like car tax, Nintendo 64s. And it ain't about s'mores on a campfire because our time is down to the wire and she got life timetable to a T. Working, cooking, cleaning, yoga, Pilates. Pilates? I don't know how to Pilates. You just keep saying try this and I'm just crying because I think I'm having a quarter-life crisis. Man, this stuff is tough. This real-life world is rough and you realize nobody really knows what's going on. There ain't no white line between right and between wrong and they say be strong. But you just keep on going, keep on rowing in behind the masses, bit by bit, day by the way. 21st B-Day, that's when the fun stops. The weight of the world plops down on your shoulders. No matter how many notes or folders education gives you, it may help for work, but not always for life or reality. But maybe that's just what life's supposed to be. A jumbled up pile of crazy. Maybe that's not so bad, but well, it's still kind of scary. And I kind of just miss childhood and being a kid and that ignorant bliss. Because, well, right now, I think I'm having a quarter-life crisis.
Fantastic. Excellent stuff, Paul. Great way of finishing the session today. Thank you for that. I forgot to ask you before as well. I always do. If people want to find out more about you, where are the best going?
Perfect. So I have a Twitter account at Paul McPoet, which you can look up, and a Facebook page at Paul McNamara Performance Poet as well. So I try and keep those updated with any shows coming up, any videos, publications, poetry stuff coming out, anything like that. So,
Brilliant. I'll get them both logged on down today for you. They were great. That was brilliant. I've really enjoyed today, Paul. It's been a pleasure chatting to you as well. Brilliant. If you ever make it to the show, please look me up and I'll track me. We're both going to definitely watch you. So I know what I know of my partner, she'll love you. Right, we'll chat the pants off the mate. Right, Paul, hang on down. I need a quick word off mic. But thank you again for today. It's been fantastic. I've really, really enjoyed today. So this is Andy N saying stay safe and stay sane. As always, take care of yourself, guys, and thanks again, Paul. An absolute superb.
Thank you so much.
I'll see you all soon, guys. Take care. Bye.
Spoken. Thanks again for listening to another session of Spoken Label. Our full archive can be found over on Bandcamp at Spoken Label. That's one word. Spoken Label. Full stop. Bandcamp.com. And there is over 150 sessions there. So I'm sure that if you've enjoyed this session, there'll be something else there you can enjoy as well. Take care. Bye bye. Spoken Label.